As anyone who has been to Melbourne knows, it's a real mecca for food and drinks. So when I had friends and family visit, basically all of the recommendations that I give them are bars and restaurants, and that's just what you spend your time here doing. As I've discussed before, we've really taken the espresso martini to heart in Melbourne, but it wasn't actually invented here. It was invented back in the UK in London. But it turns out that we also have our own modern classic cocktail invented right here in Melbourne. It's just a little bit more neon. The Japanese slipper is a combination of Midori, orange liqueur, and lemon juice, which lives up to the disco dreams of the era. It was invented at a restaurant called Mietta's by a bartender called Jean-Paul Bourguignon, which obviously is an excellent name. And as his name suggests, he was a French bartender. He was hired to add a little bit of European gravitas to the sort of European bistro style thing that Mietta's was doing. I do have to credit my fiance Fred Siggins here because he actually wrote an article on this drink for Punch magazine, which is a really good resource for cocktail nerds. And he managed to track down Bourguignon, who's now kind of living out his retirement in the mountains somewhere, but he got the whole story from him. So in 1984, he was experimenting with the cocktail list at Mietta's, and a rep brought in a bottle of Midori, which was new on the scene for him to play around with. He added Cointreau as a nod to his and the restaurant's French heritage, and then some fresh lemon juice, which was actually quite forward thinking at that point. It was sort of before fresh citrus and drinks became ubiquitous again. And the name, well, he was apparently reading a book at the time about a Japanese lady and her slippers, and he hadn't heard the word slippers before, so it sort of stuck in his head. And the rest is history. It was a massive hit, and when Bourguignon left Mietta's, he actually became a hospitality consultant, so he traveled all over the country here, training young bartenders and writing cocktail lists for sort of bigger hospitality groups. And this is such an easily replicable drink that he put the Japanese slipper on basically all of them, and an icon was born. As with all things, trends come and go, and the bright green and more liqueur-heavy recipe fell out of fashion when we started taking drinks a bit more seriously. But post-pandemic, it's actually had a bit of a revival, because I think people are just looking for something a bit kind of nostalgic and comforting. And the thing is, it's actually not a bad drink. As long as you're using good quality liqueurs and fresh citrus, it has a really Moorish sort of tart, sweet flavor, like when you get those sour sweets. And let's face it, it's fun. So let's get making it. So Midori, for anyone who doesn't know, is a melon liqueur. Comes from Japan, owned by Suntory. It would have been quite exotic at that time, and its bright green color has helped make this drink so iconic. Now, Bourguignon did use Cointreau, of course, but any good quality orange liqueur will work. I just have some Pierre Ferrand curacao here, which is a little bit on the drier side, which I prefer, but just make sure you get something bright and fresh is going to work well. So easy little equal parts recipe. So 30 mils or 1 ounce of Midori, 30 mils or 1 ounce of your orange liqueur, and 30 mils or 1 ounce of fresh lemon juice. Now, I felt this was quite an appropriate glass for this, given the very kind of like 80s or early 90s shape of it. This was actually one that our videographer found, so been waiting for just the right drink to put in it. Just want to fill up with ice and give it a good hard shake. I mean, you just can't not be happy drinking that. I actually had some friends who wanted us all to get matching Midori or Japanese slipper tattoos, but we ended up getting our little, the little kind of cutlery set instead, but maybe one day. And then your garnish is, well, it's meant to be a maraschino cherry. At Bomba we just use Morello, so a little bit darker, but will definitely still do the job, and that just will pop in to sit at the bottom. Perfectly neon, so fun. I'm not sure how I'm actually going to drink out of this glass, so might have to go down for this one. Yeah, it tastes like, I don't know if you guys have them anywhere else, but there's like sour squirms you can get here that are kind of snakes that are that sour and like dipped in sugar. So yeah, it's definitely got those kind of vibes to it. But it's not a bad drink. Like the lemon juice really does work to balance it out nicely. And again, obviously using a slightly drier curacao and kind of actual Midori, which is actually like a really nice, bright, fresh, obviously on the sweeter side, but still nice and kind of fresh flavor. Yeah, I mean, it's everything that you would want for a night out, really. Dust off those shoulder pads and take the Japanese slipper out for a night on the town. So now you know.